Well, what about the Pies, the Collingwood Football Club, going perfectly as we spoke about earlier. You know, they're having an amazing season. They've won 7 in a row and largely unheralded, I think that's 7. They've got some talent to come back in. Swan, Reid, Pendlebury and Shaw, they'll all come back in over the next few weeks. Their draw, they virtually don't leave the MCG for 6 weeks, and then they travel to Skoda Stadium for the GWS. They play Sydney. They go to Subiaco for the West Coast Eagles and Kangaroos on the way home. Gee, they're an amazing side. Their contested possession rate's huge. Centre bounce clearance stuff's amazing. Really haven't got a problem to worry about at the moment with the way they play or their talent or their system at the moment. They're going amazing.
We've got them on 19 wins. We've got Adelaide 18, West Coast. They're incredible totals, but it's hard to argue because they're building, Collingwood. And I think the flip side of the injuries, rather than use as an excuse, they've got games into players that otherwise wouldn't have if all those players were ready to go. So they've almost increased their depth. And they've now got more options, and they can purely rely on form. Whoever's playing well plays. If you're not playing well, we've got someone waiting to go.
Absolutely, and we spoke about it on the weekend. They've played 35 players this season so far, which is up there with the developing lists at the bottom of the ladder that we see with the likes of Brisbane and GWS and the Suns and that sort of stuff. But they're going fantastic. The fact that they've had 6 debutants is a good sign. But some of those debutants are coming in and being really good players. And I like Sinclair. I mean, I think he's played every game this season, certainly played 9. He's developing beautifully, I think, with Fasolo. And then there's those mid-range players that actually have taken the bar up. Yeah, the likes of Beams, he's absolutely flying.
And Sidebottom as well. I think their biggest problem, Jason, I'll ask you about this, is the form of Cloak and Dawes. How do they get those guys where they need them for the sharp end or the point end of the year? Because their forward line is going really well. It's ranked 4, I think, across the course of the season for being able to convert inside 50s into scores. How do they make sure those two are firing at the pointy end?
I'm not worried about Travis Cloak because I think his work rate, he puts himself in enough contests. I think he's always going to have days where he's better than others, but again, it's a little bit like Buddy Franklin, people saying he's not having the impact. He's not far off actually tearing a game apart, I wouldn't have thought. Chris Dawes is a bigger concern for mine if I was a Collingwood supporter. I mean, we know he's got a great tank, he can work hard, but he's not impacting games, and he's got to find a way to do that. And then all of a sudden, if he's impacting, it takes a bit of pressure off Travis Cloak as well, and you don't have to rely on him as much. So I think he's a real key for them.
Without the ball in his hand, is he still playing a valuable role as far as their structure? You talked about their system and structure operating very well. I think he does that very well, which, I mean, Wood played quite well on the weekend. I mean, up against an inexperienced player in Hickey. What's Wood's chances when Jolly comes back? Can he take the... I don't think he can take the Dawes role. Could Jolly go forward and Wood in the ruck?
I can't see them playing Wood and Jolly in the same lineup. It's not the way they want to go.